Yo, guys, I know that you have been waiting long for this one. We're hanging out with Nick or the Flopping Groper FG. We're going to go over some heavy duty shit tonight. We're going to go over VWAPs. And from what I understand, these things are pretty accurate. I know a lot of the guys in my community have absolutely been like chomping at the bit for this conversation to happen. So I appreciate you being here, brother. How the heck are you?
I'm doing super great, Justin. I mean, the markets have been crazy, so I don't want to be, overly happy and joyous like everything's all peaches and cream because there's some very serious things happening right now. But it's been great, man. I owe like pretty much all my success to Market Cipher and to my brother Crypto Face. I just owe a lot to like my role models who I'm thankful to be like. My role models are people close to me in my life. It's my blood brother. It's guys like Mike Perry and people like you, Justin, and like just the crypto space has embraced me as I've come out into more of like the forefront on social media ever since the beginning of last year. Wasn't really much of a social media guy for like most of my trading journey, but long story short, I was able to take a lot of my foundational charting knowledge with Market Cipher, do a little more research with volume weighted average price, and I started my own VIP group. I've made some decent good calls in the last year and a half, and it's just grown up to like this point where like I'm just really grateful to be here. The VWAPs continue to provide ongoing opportunity and ongoing truth in the markets for people, and I'm happy to be a steward of them. And I even invented a tool that kind of auto-populates them on your chart, and people really liked it. Saves a lot of analysis time and stuff. So happy to go over Market Cipher, LeapFrog, answer any questions you have, Justin. And I just want to say, you're the GOAT for persevering this far in the markets alongside us, and happy to be here on the show with you, man. So thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you hanging out with me and actually schooling me, because the whole VWAP thing is something I don't know a whole lot about, and I am definitely anxious to learn about, because anytime that you can gain more insight and more advantage, or at least another tool in your arsenal as a trader, I think that's really important. Especially going into where we're going, and before we get into a whole lot. And in the beginning you said we don't want to, it's not all smoke and rainbows. We're not smoking too much opium right now because of what's been going on, but we talk about all sorts of stuff in crypto. Let's talk about the bullish divergence that we are seeing crypto play out right now. Price go down, right? Mm-hmm. Overall we're in a downtrend, and for most things. However, if you were to say I'll air quotes, the Market Cipher B is the headlines. Mm-hmm. What's happening? We're seeing Bitcoin being bought by nations. We're mm-hmm. seeing ETFs launch for meme coins and all that stuff, which is leading us to potentially an index fund. We're seeing the banks testing XRP 100% for internal and transactions. The FDIC is saying, hey, guys, banks, if you want to use crypto, it's cool with us. So, like, again, price go down, but on the Market Cipher B down below, like, dude, we're like literally the sentiment is just got to be shooting straight up and to the right. What do you think about that?
Well, in the medium term, I'm actually quite bullish, especially after the strength that was exerted by the markets after Trump apparently has lifted tariffs for 3 months on most nations. He's focusing his tariff strategy on China. Correct. And the stock market had a really nice bounce back up into its yearly VWAPs, which it had lost, but now it's kind of trying to reclaim it. And so I'm actually quite bullish in the medium term on Bitcoin here. Let me show you guys something real quick. And let me preface this, real quick before I get into the exciting bullish stuff. We have to be mindful of the risks of this time, of where we're at in the chart from a Market Cipher B monthly standpoint. So you can see here on the monthly, do you see my chart, Justin?
Yep.
So our monthly waves are about to lose the 60 line, which is a major signal of basically momentum reducing and a potential bear market. And then look at the Heikin Ashi. The Heikin Ashi is still red. And so these are risky times. We can't go around telling people that like there are no risks in these markets. It is a risky time to invest in cryptos, but you have to admit that we are pulled back substantially from the highs, about 30%. Stocks as well. It's a lot of good value at these levels already. If you assume that the markets are eventually going to recover and go to all-time highs, which, you know, the dollar is going to zero, so eventually these markets will recover. It's just a matter of like how long are you willing to wait and buy the dip to become rich in the future, right? And so, you know, this shouldn't scare you guys. This should just tell you that, you know, maybe it's time to as this cools off, maybe there's a chance the multi-waves do have to cool off, and the real excitement doesn't actually happen until 2026, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm open to that possibility, and I don't think that's a reason to panic. I think it's a reason to get excited, right? But in the medium term, which by medium I mean like next couple of weeks, there is some really exciting stuff happening. So obviously, Bitcoin here off this tariff news just reclaimed the fresh quarterly VWAP. So April 1st is the start of a new quarter, right? And so now that the price is over that VWAP, we can say that the quarter is now bullish. And so April, the month as well, is a bullish month now. That price is over this VWAP. And so that's an early indication of potentially Bitcoin wanting to retest the year-to-date VWAP. And the reason why I think this is possible, even though we're getting a red dot here on the 1 hour, we might see a bit of a pullback and then continuation to the upside. The reason why I like this year-to-date VWAP retest idea, this is Bitcoin going up to like 91.5 or whatever. I like this idea because every single quarter we actually like to do this move. So give me just a second to enable all of not only this year's quarterly VWAPs, but last year's quarterly VWAPs as well. And you'll see that. Let's just take a look at last year real quick. So when April rolled around last year, where did we go, Justin? See how we crashed down to the year-to-date VWAP right there? Exactly. And by May 1st, we were at that year-to-date VWAP. So when a new quarterly VWAP comes, we like to trade back to the previous. It happened again in July in Q3. A little bit of spillover to the downside, but once traction was built on that July anchor, we pumped back up to the red April VWAP there. And it happened again going into April. You could see that there was a dump back down to the July, the yellow VWAP there. And so every single quarter, charts like to revisit the previous quarter's anchored VWAP. And usually these moves are very hard for the retail trader and for crypto Twitter sentiment to grasp their head around. The last one that happened was mind-blowing. We were up here at the 100K region, right? But where was the previous quarter's anchored VWAP? It was this blue line hovering down here in like the 80Ks, you know? And it wasn't until February that we finally got that test of the previous quarter's VWAP. So sometimes it takes time for these macro undulations to play out. This one took almost 2 months, you see that, to hit the October VWAP from last year. So, you know, the previous quarter's VWAP now is the year-to-date VWAP. That's our Q1 VWAP. And I believe that if the Market Cipher B daily waves are suggesting it, and we are gaining traction over the current, this new Q2 anchored VWAP, if we have those two things, we have a case for price going up to the Q1 VWAP, that 91,500 level. And from there, we have to see what happens. I just explained to you how the monthly situation is a little bit strange looking, a little bit bearish looking, like there's a lot of bearish potentiality there, macro bearish shit. But in the next couple of weeks, I think that this upward move is likely. I'd put it maybe at like a 70% chance. But after that, I do kind of flip bearish again. So that's the honest take from me over here.
I think that's good. And I'm with you. And I think, you know, not to, you know, be too hopium heavy or whatever. I am a bull by every stretch of the imagination for crypto. I would say I'm a perma bull. I am extremely cautiously optimistic in certain regards, though, right? If you were to why don't you open up the Bitcoin 6-month chart? I wanted to ask you something about that.
Okay. I haven't looked at that in a while, but let's take a peek at it. All right.
So like if you look back on, you know, the history of, and I'm going to pull it up on my side so I can explain kind of what I have been looking at here. Let's see. I need, and I'm just, I'm using the Bitstamp chart. I don't know if there's anything different between, what I'm looking at, what you are. But on this 6-month chart, there is, if you go back to 2018, so we had an entire year of red, right? We had 2 6-month candles consecutively that were from body to body, like 75% down for the first drop, right? From there, we had in 2022, we had 2 6-month candles, so another year of negative activity. This was a 65% drop.
Yep.
All right. And then now we are on our first 6-month candle, and we have gone down quite a bit. And if we were to do this law of diminishing whatever, we go 75, 65, 55. 55 puts us at 42,000.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy number to think is possible, but yeah, I'd say that because this bull run got a little bit cut short at that 100K psychological resistance, at least for now. Yeah, it's like it sucks that if you are assuming like a textbook crypto crash of like 70 to 80%, man, 70 to 80% from 100K, that's like resetting everything for us, man. That's taking away all the gains we made in the last 2-3 years, So it's a tough thing to wrap your head around, being in crypto for many years. You want it to keep going up and stuff and not just be sideways. Ever since we kind of got into crypto, it has been stuck. Bitcoin's been stuck in that 5-digit territory for a long time. So what is your point exactly? Are you saying there's like going to be a second red candle here, or what?
So you say, and I think it plays along the lines of that. I'm a firm believer of the second half of this year, we might see some more positive activity, but it's going to be rough until then. But so with that being said, that, yeah, if you say maybe 2026 is our year, that means 2025 is not our year, and we could continue to go down. We, in theory, I think if you pull like Bitcoin and you kind of stretch it and do some things so that it's an easier to draw a line, I think something like 35,000, if you to get your bottom support, we could come down to like 35, not break structure in the overall uptrend of Bitcoin in its life cycle.
I agree, man. I'm kind of like a bearish bull right now. It's a weird spot to be in, right?
I'm with you, and I'm usually very, very bullish.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, just looking at the 6 months chart here, there's a couple of just basic trend lines you can do. There's like an uptrend here that we're hoping holds, right? That's, I guess, like there's an uptrend putting us at around like a 60K low. Like if this strong uptrend on the 6 month chart holds, but if that collapses, well then, oof, man, you might have to go down lower to some more macro supports. Hopefully it doesn't hit this bottom trend line down here. Hopefully we don't go to 10K. I don't think it's going to go to 10K, guys. I would start buying back into Bitcoin, which I did sell cryptos in January. I would start buying back in if Bitcoin were to hit around that 50K level. Once we start like chin checking the ETF FOMO buyers, like remember, like the ETFs got approved when Bitcoin was in the 40Ks last year. Once we start dipping down into those levels, man, that's some good value in my opinion, because that is ETF approval prices. So I don't know about a test of this trend line down here, but I am wary of this rising trend line breaking. This is the first time I'm looking at the 6 month chart. If you go to the 3 month chart, look at Market Cipher B lifetime. We are facing a potential red dot here and a overall bearish divergence, price going up higher, waves coming down lower. So we do have some technical evidence of like yearly scale downtrend looking at us. We're looking down the scope of a barrel right now. But does that change the overall vision of cryptocurrency? I don't think so, man. I think you should be licking your lips and learning how to trade and learning how to accumulate in a bear market. And I think that I'm grateful for the Trump volatility. It was first to the upside. Now we're paying the piper. It's down to the downside. But overall, I think that like the country's going in a good direction and like the markets are going to rebound eventually. Seems like a safe bet to me. So
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I think,
yeah.
again, you think about, crypto itself going through the bullish divergence where, it's every day you hear some crazy news story come out that is just you would think back in 2019. I mean, I think back to 2019 and I know the goal was always mass adoption, but when you think about the president launching a meme coin the day before he's inaugurated, the day and then doing like his Trump or his wife getting one, like like that's wild to think that we've come this far where we've got countries around the world are doing anything they can to lock in the Bitcoin. I mean, you got what, like the Kingdom of Bhutan. Nobody really knows too much about it, but yet now they're a billion. They've got $1 billion stockpile of Bitcoin because they had been mining it through, I believe, hydrostatic electricity or some crazy thing. So like it's crazy. There's countries all over the world doing the same kind of thing, and it's wild to think that we're at this stage now. But okay, so we're heavily manipulated. I get it. So that gives me, and I know we talk about being bulls and bears and all that stuff, but that's what gives me kind of the idea of, okay, like here's the deal. This is Bitcoin's bull run. We know that 64% dominant the other day. Like, come on, like this is institutionally run. We're at their mercy, right? So we just need to learn their game and how they play it. And I think when you run tools like not only Market Cipher, but you're showing me with LeapFrog. I mean, my heavens, man! I think you guys got a nice little recipe. So I want to say that was a fucking kick-ass intro because we
Hell
were
yeah, man.
supposed to talk about your background first, but we went straight into the charts, man. We got straight into the juice.
Yeah, we did, man. It's because that's what people want to hear. People like, who cares about me, bro? I'm just a guy.
No, we do. Like
Just
that's
a
the
guy
thing.
in my
I
garage.
care about you, man. I like to get to know people. I think that's really important. It's always
Yeah.
good to put like the actual to find some answers about somebody. So here, let me ask you a straight up question, and this is on my Calendly because you didn't have to go to the Calendly because you're VIP. I want everybody to know that. All right, you didn't
We
have
get
to
special
make.
treatment over here in the
Well,
the FG
that's
community.
also why it took
Hell yeah.
about 4 or 5 times for us to make this happen.
Yeah.
But the last question on the Calendly intake is the absolute most important. And it is, you could say, what is your pizza order or what is your favorite pizza topping? Like if you're ordering a pizza right now, like how do you do it?
Oh man, I just love a good pepperoni pizza. If I was ordering for a party, I would just get some pepperoni and cheese pizzas, man. I'm not trying to like enforce my will on others, but if it was just me to myself enjoying a nice pizza, I like to get creative. I like weird things like artichokes and like ground beef, and like I'll put a vegetable on there like some bell peppers. Like I'll put anything on a freaking pizza, man. I'll
Oh
eat
yeah.
anything, bro. I'm in cockroach mode now, Justin. Like the markets can't take me out. I will eat anything. I will take any opportunity I can to stuff my face in these markets. So
Oh yeah.
hopefully that answers your
Speaking
question.
of markets, I had a boxing match for CFN. It didn't go my way, but Market Cipher. Shout out to the entire Market Cipher team, your brother
Yeah.
Crypto Face, you, the community, everybody. You guys were in my corner. I appreciate that. That was awesome to have Market Cipher as my sponsor for that fight. But so you have been with Market Cipher, you for like OG status, right?
Since the beginning, yeah. So even before we released it to the public, I'm CryptoFace's half brother, so I've been in like his like sidekick, managing his Discord and his business for, like since the beginning. And so like Market Cipher, my contributions to it were like I helped with the design of it, like the colors and like the labels and the names of the words used in Market Cipher and like the tutorial videos. Some of my tutorial videos still like have like 50K views from like
Nice.
so many people throughout the years, like coming in, learning Market Cipher, and they settle upon my videos. And like my trading journeys had ups and downs, man. I've had the good years, bad years. Like I'm a real dude, I'm a real trader. Like I'm not going to say like every year has been peaches and cream. I've had it's been a long time, man. There's been a whole year, 2 years at a time where I had personal issues, stepped away from the markets, came back 2024, hit it real hard, started deep diving into VWAPs for people and like really doing this thing. But I've been here since the beginning, man. And what kind of spurred me to keep going was like just people years after like saying, man, thank you for like warning me of the top back in 2021, man. Like you saved my portfolio. And like I always would read your TA in the Discord back in the day. And like, life is just long, man. Like you think you can get away from your calling or your purpose, and it always drags you back in, man. I don't know if it's like that for you, but I got sucked back into this shit, man. Not gonna lie.
Like it kind of sounds like, one of the things that I've said for many years is, you turn that passion into profit. And, if you find a way to do something that you love, that's the jam to do it. And it kind of feels like, when you talk to people that have been in the space and you're building in the space, like you find people who potentially are doing that, man. And it almost sounds like, you're there. So what's like the plan with Market Cipher? Like, how are things going? Because I feel like one of the things I mentioned, you guys sponsored my fight for CFN, but I have seen some big name fighters repping the Market Cipher shield. What's the plan? Are you guys stepping up the game even more to do more of that combat stuff? Because that is really cool. The integration with crypto and the combat sports and how it's in like just taken over last year was wild to me. We
were in this shit. We were in that overlapping of manosphere fighting and trading. We were in that shit before the crypto influencer karate combat fights. I don't know if you knew that, but like my brother made this like legendary call on Mike Perry. It's like him. We worked with Mike Perry since before he was fighting in bare knuckle, and we sponsored him. He won a fight. We sponsored him again. He won a fight, and he kept winning over and over and over again. So one of our best trades we've ever made as a company wasn't even a crypto trade. It was just betting on our guy Mike Perry, and so that caused us to fall in love with the sport of bare knuckle boxing. I had the pleasure of going to Mike Perry's gym last spring around this time, trained with him, did push-ups with him. He taught me a couple things, and I was strongly considering getting into like an influencer fight myself, bro, and like representing the Market Cipher colors. But I don't know. First, I got a lot of respect for you, man, jumping in that ring, being the champion you are, training for that. I have so much respect for fighters, man, especially since now I've seen it up close. I know what it takes. And I even kind of tried to match that a bit with my 100K push-up challenge last year. Just, I love the inspiration and the champion mindset that brings into crypto. Because a lot of the biggest problem with people's strategies is they don't have the staying power. They aren't living a healthy lifestyle that helps them to stay in the markets for many, many years at a time like we have. They don't have the belief in themselves that a fighter has. They don't have that fight in them, man. And so like having that aspect, that's where the slogan empowering traders came from, is man, we have been energized by the fight space and we want you guys to be energized too. And so anytime there's a fight, especially if it's crypto people that we love, like you, Justin, or Jenna X, or anybody, who's sweating it out in the ring, potentially risking their life for the markets and for the crypto, culture, we're there for you, man. We support risk taking. We support healthy risk taking, as long as you're prepared, as long as you got the tools. And man.
I love that. And so, even like you said, like, you did what you wanted or could do at that time to kind of put yourself in that same position. And I think ultimately, and this is the same message that I've been preaching since this, it's like, getting in the pit or getting into a boxing ring or getting into a bare knuckle ring or whatever is not going to be for everybody. It literally is just not for everybody. Not everybody can do that. But what is important is that throughout your life, you do these things to put yourself outside of your comfort zone. You challenge yourself. You do something that is uncomfortable. It doesn't cost you anything usually. Like you maybe like to get the gym membership or whatever. Like, what I mean? But like to challenge yourself typically shouldn't cost you anything. And so like, like we said, where it was, the push-up challenge. I loved watching that. And I loved watching that spread. And I know you're doing a new one. Is it a squat challenge? Is that what it is?
Not gonna lie, man. I thought that I could keep that up. With the push-up challenge, it was also a rough start. The first couple of days of that challenge, it was rough, man. At that point, when you start something like that, you're at your weakest. Everybody's doubting you. it's the worst and the shittiest at the beginning. And it's like that with anything that you start in life, whether it's a business or an invention or just anything that you start in life. The beginning always sucks because nobody believes you. You don't even believe in yourself. You're not even strong enough to do it. You have to adapt. You got to force yourself through that adaptation. And so the push-up challenge was tough, but doable, because push-ups are a simple body weight exercise. For the squats, though, the other day, I was on one, man. I said 100 squats a day until Michael Saylor's average entry gets tested. I did 135, so like a plate on each side for 100 reps, and I couldn't even walk yesterday. So I'm waiting to heal up, but I need to like maybe lower the weight down to a weight that I could do every day. But yeah, in that one, I'm not spamming Twitter with my ass working out, like I did with the push-ups, but that was a cool movement that we did. Hashtag proof of work, showing the actual like 100 push-ups a day. And then when we actually got to 100K, that was like the most legendary moment ever. And it just so happens that was also a psychological level / top. I never even anticipated that, Justin. I didn't think that my mission, the 100K mission, would not only get us to the bull market target, but also that was the pivot point. And so I'm so grateful that of the person I was at the start of 2024, that conviction I had, I felt very close to God, which sounds corny, I know, but I just felt a lot of circles overlapping in my life. A lot of purpose had like injected into me, and I just had so much energy to give. And I was like, man, how do I show it? I had just met Mike Perry. I was so energized, Justin.
Right.
And I took that I read books on VWAPs. I streamed like every weekday. Like I was just going absolutely ham. And now I'm at a point where I'm coasting. I'm a little more chill, a little more even keel and coasting, making calls around these weekly, monthly, quarterly VWAPs, and still going to the gym 3 days a week. But man, anybody who's trying to change your life, man, I would say dedicate yourself to a rigorous grind like that, and your life will change. My life changed for the better in 1 year, and I know you guys can do it too. Which again sounds corny, you know what I'm saying? But,
it's true though, man. And like,
yeah,
and you with like, you think you've gone through that process. You think it's corny. Same thing, right? But at the end of the day, like someone will hear that and it will resonate with them so much, and it will go on to absolutely change their life. And so, as as corny or as trivial as sometimes we think these moments are, for anybody with a platform, sometimes they do change lives, and it can mean the world to to someone who receives it.
I did. There was like 100 people doing push-ups with me, posting the videos online, and so man, so many men and women came out of the woodwork and showed and told the world, I'm a trader, I believe in myself, and I'm here to stay in these markets. And like, so it wasn't even about push-ups, right? It was about making that statement to the markets: you're not going to take me. You should have taken me out a long time ago. I'm unbreakable now. And man, I'm feeling butterflies in my stomach. I'm feeling the old latent anger I used to feel that is now this overabundant love for traders and the markets and myself and all that shit. I'm feeling that again, just talking about this shit, man. I'm getting excited, man. We gotta change the subject, man. I'm getting too excited.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm gonna like I drywall.
I'll probably start doing my squats, man, but I'm just gonna do body weight squats because I feel like that's probably a little bit more manageable.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah,
All
man.
right.
I could go into some VWAPs or Market
Yeah,
Cipher,
let's do that.
any other questions you got?
It's time. It is time. Yes, let's go into this. I want to learn about this. So you gotta explain to me just really quick, like what the colored tabs are, what it means, and then we'll roll through this, man. And I'm super excited to learn about this because I know there are a lot of people talking about this. A lot of guys in my community that have been chatting about this, that have got the indicator, all that stuff. So
sure. So I mean, just to kind of to preface, there's a lot of stuff going on here. This is a huge net of volume weighted dynamic supports and resistances. That's really all it is. A VWAP means volume weighted average price. It's just anchored from a certain point. VWAP was originally just a day trading indicator. They would anchor it on the start of the day, a new daily candle, and that data point would grow over time. And it's a little different than a moving average because a moving average has a rolling set of data. It's like if you have a 20 candle moving average, once you get that 21st candle, the candle number 1 falls off the block. And so old data matters less with a moving average, whereas with a VWAP, that original data point that you anchor the VWAP from matters more and more over time. It grows into a monster. And so a new quarterly VWAP, like this April VWAP we just got, on April 1st, it was a little baby. It was just a daily VWAP, right? But in a week, it's the weekly VWAP. In a month, it's the monthly, and it just grows into this big monster. And it becomes a powerful volume-weighted support or resistance for like months, quarters, and years to come. It's like these VWAPs are crazy. And so finding out the best places to anchor a VWAP from in a market can be a little bit tricky. You could do it from a high, a low, an FOMC date, the inauguration, the election, powerful dates and price levels are good points to place anchored VWAPs at. But a no-brainer that everybody should know about is that like period-based VWAPs, like a VWAP placed at the start of the week or the start of the month or the start of the quarter. There's a lot of insights that can be gained from studying those VWAPs. And so that's the basis of LeapFrog here. You look at the settings, you've got the year to date, that's on January 1, the previous year to date. So last year's January 1, we want to see that, right? Q2, previous Q2. So all the quarterly VWAPs, I have them here. And these are really great macro levels to fall back on when, like the smaller time frame VWAPs, like when things get volatile, you need supports down there to catch the dips and stuff, right? And so these quarterly VWAPs are great. There's also a monthly strategy. So I like to know what the current month and the previous month's VWAPs are, because sometimes when a new month begins, you gain traction on that. And where does it want to go? To the previous month's VWAP. That's called I call that a monthly LeapFrog. And we apply that to the weekly situation as well. Oftentimes you get a jump back to the previous weekly VWAP, and even sometimes daily leaps. But obviously daily leaps are a little more fidgety. Not every day retraces on itself. You may have a momentum day where it continues further in that given direction, but you get the idea. So there's some custom VWAPs here as well, which you could place custom dates on. Like I love to have one on the election day. So election day was 11/5. So you would just put 11/5 here, 2024, put election day, and make sure that's enabled there. And you'll see a new VWAP added. See up here at the very top here, Justin, see this election day silver VWAP that got added?
Yep.
So that's a VWAP from Trump's election. And like, look, that caught. Not only was this, look at the silver VWAP here. So not only was this serving as a solid level of dynamic support all through January and February, but that was the level that we lost. That led to more continuation down. That was like the bubble that got popped from that VWAP from election day. And look at this bearish retest of that was on that Trump tweet manipulation day. If you remember this day, early March, can you believe that was the monthly high, man? That was some crazy manipulation, man. But thankfully with LeapFrog, if you knew your powerful volume weighted supports and resistances, you actually caught that top and you were able to trade a manipulated tweet event, which in most cases I would say don't do that, right? But sometimes the market gives you those freebies. And so knowing whatever chart you're using LeapFrog on, placing a couple custom VWAPs on the dates that are most relevant to that asset is good. But for the most part, you can just go off of the VWAPs that I already have anchored for you guys. And we've gone over a lot already. Let me just show you like the tool in action here. So, we zoom into Ripple here. This was a trade that I just took in the VIP. Let me show you guys. Can you see my Discord right now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there was a long, I post loot losses in here as well. But look at these longs. See this long on Ripple that I put out here, bro. Stop loss, kind of a bad risk reward, but a high win rate likelihood. So it's a good trade for me. So we gained traction on the week to date WTD. That's the price closing bodies over a new weekly VWAP. And when you get that, oftentimes at the start of a new week, you get that retracement back up to the previous week to date VWAP. So when we go back on XRP, look what happened, bro. an exact surgical wick up in like no time at all. You know what I'm saying? This was like a scalp. This wasn't a swing. This was a scalp on Ripple that absolutely murdered it. I wish I was gambling on it. I only traded it, only made $2,000, right? But like if I was hitting it hard like I have in the past, would have been an absolute banger, you know.
Right.
But Ripple did wick up, and like, look, it wicks up right to that previous weekly VWAP. Isn't that insane,
Wow.
bro? Like, it's like that's the level to take profit at and to short. Not that I shorted, but it's like, man, these VWAPs are insane. Like, what other indicator lets you know? It's like, what even is that level? That's not like a relevant high, you know. But if you knew VWAPs, it's like you know that that's a powerful level to be watching and taking profit on. So that's an example of a weekly leapfrog. I call it a leapfrog. When a new period begins, it retraces back to the previous period's VWAP. Call that a leapfrog. It happens daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, with enough of a likelihood that I got a bustling little community in there. Whenever a new month begins, you know, their favorite shit coin, they're trying to see if, man, is there a way that we could go back to that previous monthly VWAP? And some of them catch that move and they make good money, man. So it's wholesome. It's just a new way to look at TA. It's just TA, bro. Sometimes it plays out, sometimes it doesn't. It's just a different / new way to look at charts that maybe is more modern, or maybe it's recontextualizing something that already existed in the past. But
another tool in the arsenal, you know.
Yeah, for me, it's my bread and butter. But I hope for anyone who uses it, I hope you just incorporate it into whatever you're already doing. I don't want to change your strategy or have you copy me or whatever, like I'm this hot shot. That's not the case, man. But I just created this to help people, man. And it sped up my analysis. Look, I can go from XRP to fart coin and see it's got all the VWAPs on there. I don't need to pull up this anchored VWAP tool and put a VWAP over here. And then, oh, now I want to do an ETH analysis. Now I got to put a VWAP there. I can't do that, man. You can't go live with an audience of 1,000 people and be manually placing these VWAPs. Like, I need to be able to cycle through all these charts and look at every asset where it's positioned around its big VWAPs, because that tells a story. It tells an overall story of the market, you know. Knowing which coins are underperforming for the year or overperforming. Like, I'm able to confidently say, for instance, that fart coin is an overperformer. Because look, it's over all VWAPs. You see that? So when you look at Market Cipher on the daily as well, just a couple days ago on my stream, look at the money flow crossover on Fartcoin that we were beginning to see. That was a very nice green dot right there, and a money flow crossover on Fart, and we were starting to reclaim over all VWAPs. So it's like the leapfrog's helping me make these kind of calls, such as like Fart coins and overperform. It's one of the better meme coins so far this cycle, and it just pumped up to 75 cents. So
yeah, dude, it's crazy. Yeah. It's on a tear. That is for certain. Well, shit, man, I definitely, this has been amazing learning about these VWAPs. I know that I got to learn more. Potentially, and I promise you, because I love all this. But now, anybody that's listening, this is their first time checking this out, and they want to take the next steps. What do you suggest for someone who's just kind of, maybe they're already trading, they're doing that stuff, but they want to take the next step into the ecosystem? Maybe, and let's take they've already got Market Cipher. Oh, that's a given. If you don't have Market Cipher, what are you doing?
I mean, I agree, man. Like, I look at Market Cipher every day. I can't trade without it. Even with the LeapFrog is just support and resistance at the end of the day. So having Market Cipher, the confluence of knowing the daily time frames got my back. Not only are we gaining some traction on the Q2 VWAP here and stuff like that, but look at the daily on Bitcoin. It's a nice little green dot here. So it's just nice having that confluence. Obviously, I would never have been bearish. I wouldn't have been so bearish in January if I didn't see this monthly wave reading right here. Like, before this red dot had even appeared, I was comparing this overbought monthly wave to previous monthly waves in Bitcoin's life. So do you see here, Justin? Like, we're basically at this point, but look, let me switch. So Market Cipher just helps you know where you're at in history, which is so valuable, man. Like, that overbought monthly wave was mirroring previous overbought monthly waves in Bitcoin's history. So that it helped me be bearish in January when no one else was, man. And like, it's not even me. It's like, I just want to be a good steward to the tool. And, I'm not perfect, but I think you do need market. I think Market Cipher is a bread and butter, man. I think
you gotta have it. So get the Market Cipher, and then so if somebody wants to get LeapFrog, or if they want to join the Discord, they want to take those next steps. Where do they find you?
Well, so if you follow like my link in bios on all my profiles, there's a link tree to my WAP. You purchase my VIP Discord through WAP, and I think we'll have maybe like a link in the description of this video or something for that. Yep. But you can go ahead and follow my Twitter at Flopping Groper. Follow my links there, and you'll get the tool. If you click this, you will see that there's a code for Market Cipher there. You could use my code for breakout trading as well to get a little discount on that. But you click this LeapFrog Access, and I offer my VIP here. So it's very cheap. It's $100 lifetime for the support resistance tool, just to like hook you up, because I got to hook you up manually. I'm still in the Flintstone era. Nice. with hooking people up with this thing. And then it's just $25 a month for the Discord. Like, all right, it can't get any cheaper than that, guys. Like, I'm not trying to gut anybody. I make money trading already, but it is a lot of work, like managing that Discord, keeping everyone happy, like every day. It's like, it's a stressor on me, even though I love it and it's my calling. I would say $25 a month. Yeah.
You also like really like as a protection tool, like you need to have a paywall on that kind. When you're at a certain level with your trading and all that stuff, man, you need to have like a certain paywall on that stuff, because it just can't be open to the public like that. And I think most people who trade and are in this whole part of the ecosystem totally understand that. And that's cheap as shit compared to a lot of these other groups that you can get yourself into.
I would say don't make the mistake of seeing something that's cheap and thinking there's no value in it. When Bitcoin was at 15K, was there no value in that? No, I mean, that Bitcoin was going to 100. You should have freaking bought Bitcoin at 15K. So with this tool, I would say that I've priced it in such a way that the average, like, I'm looking out for the common man in this space. I want to help them. I want to give them tools that help them. And I don't want to double gut the people who buy Market Cipher. Like, I don't want to like fleece them a second time. So I kept it low. If I naturally organically grow up to 1,000 members, that's 25 grand a month, dude. Like, what the hell? I don't even deserve that much money a month for making a trading view script. That's the way I see it in my mind, But it's monthly income. It's good for me. I can buy the dip and buy more Bitcoin stuff throughout this like bear market that might be coming. Yeah. So, if you choose to support me and get the tool, like, I guarantee you'll get insights that you won't find anywhere else, because nobody's talking about this like I am. And if you do start seeing it, they got it from me. You know what I'm saying? But I just promise to not give up. You guys know I have the champion mindset from Mike Perry, and I ain't going anywhere. So we're in this for the long haul, man. I'm going to get us through, whatever bull market, bear market. Who gives a crap, man? As long as there's new months, new weeks, as long as the world doesn't end, there's always a trade back to the previous period.
There's always another trade, man. There is always another trade. Well, my guy, Nick, the Flopping Groper himself. I appreciate you, man.
No problem, Justin. You're the man. Thanks for the interview, man. Happy to finally get this one done, man.
Yeah, dude. It's long overdue. So I'm glad we do that. Let's check back in with each other very soon here. I will let you know when this is all out. And man, keep crushing it, brother.
Cheers, man. All right, peace, guys. Thank you.